Well, it's 12:30. We're ready to begin our webinar titled Use Instagram to Create Insta Business. Before I introduce our guest expert, let me say that this webinar is a presentation of the Community Economic Development Fund in Meriden, Connecticut. I'm Frederick Welk, a business advisor for CEDF clients. The Community Economic Development Fund is a nonprofit organization which provides enterprises in Connecticut with term loans, lines of credit, and commercial mortgages when they can't get traditional bank financing. We welcome our webinar participants who include CEDF clients and business owners from across Connecticut and advisors from Yukon Small Business Development Center. For practicality and to improve the program quality, we're muting the lines of everyone tuned in. If you develop questions, please use the raise your hand or the Q&A buttons that are down at the bottom of your screen, or they may be at the top of your screen, and our presenter will recognize you at an appropriate moment. The presentation is being recorded, and CEDF will make the program available on our website in the coming days. That's at cedf.com/recorded presentations. If you're a business owner who's confused and frustrated about how to use Instagram to promote your operation, gain customers, and increase sales, well, you're not quite sure how to get started, maybe? Well, this is the webinar for you. In this session, you'll learn all the tips to making your business Instagram account profitable. To make the use of this webinar, be sure that you've got Instagram up and running on a separate phone, tablet, or iPad from the device that you're using to view the webinar. During the session, you'll be able to ask questions and make changes to your profile and start using the tips that we're going to teach you here. Sammy Williams is a content strategist with over 20 years of writing experience. She founded Sam's Word LLC in 2015 with the goal of alleviating the writing burden on others. Writing's been a natural passion for Sammy, and she leverages those skills through the facilitation of business development, marketing, and communications workshops. When Sammy is not providing training to other businesses, she assists businesses with content development, editing, proofreading, copywriting, and more. And Sammy joins us today from her office in New Haven. Welcome, Sammy Williams.
Thank you, Fred. Thanks for having me, and thanks to everyone who's able to join us today. So we are here, and we're going to talk about Instagram and getting your whole Insta business together, right? This is a slide that I included in all my decks, and it just kind of goes over the writing services that I provide for my clients up above, and then below is some of the training and workshops such as this that I provide. So I won't go through all that, but you can see that my contact information is there if you need me. So I will say that I like my sessions to be interactive, so don't feel shy. If you have a question, raise your hand, throw it in the Q&A resource that we have there. And when I see your question or your raised hand, I'll come to you. But I don't want to just talk at you, so make sure it's interactive and you ask me any questions you have. We have a lot of information to go over today. And then we're going to start here. So why should you even be using Instagram as a promotional tool? So this is some data that I've included and shared in my decks, and I just checked this week, and all these numbers are still accurate. So we have about 25 million global business profiles that's currently on Instagram, and on a daily basis there's over 200 million visits to those existing business profiles on Instagram. 80% of people that are using Instagram follow at least one business, and then 71% of businesses are using Instagram as a marketing tool. We also have 60% of users learn about new businesses through Instagram alone, and that could be through paid ads and promotions and boosted or sponsored posts, or through using hashtags, which we'll discuss in a little bit. So for Instagram for Business Basics 101, we start at the beginning, right? So Facebook owns Instagram. So that's why there's a lot of interoperability between the two platforms, where if you post on Instagram, you can have it set up to automatically share to your Facebook business page also. And that's because Facebook owns the platform. But a Facebook business page is required. So if you have not already set up your Instagram business page, you're going to have to start with a Facebook business page. And you want to do that, have the separate business page, because you don't want to have your turn your personal Instagram account that you're using into a business page. And we've all seen it. I see it on a daily basis where we have friends and family and people from school from 20 years ago. They take on a new business, and now every single thing they post is promoting that product or service that they're offering. And that's not why you started following them from the beginning. So do not aggravate those people. Just start a separate business page, and if they're interested, your current friends and families and followers will follow along. There are people who have separate businesses. So if you find yourself with separate businesses, you're just going to create a separate Instagram account for each of those businesses, but you will need an associated email address. So each business page on Instagram will need its own business email address. And Instagram, I believe it automatically makes your business page public, because we're all in business to make money, right? Then you can't do that with a private page. So just make sure your business Instagram page is public. And the main thing is to really get familiar with the settings, the profiles, and the features that are provided through Instagram. A lot of what I'm going to cover, maybe 95%, are the free tools and features that you can use in Instagram. So just get comfortable, go through all of the different profile settings, see what you need to change, improve, and use. Maybe you just are not using a feature. And then the last thing is that your Facebook ads also run on Instagram. So if you're on Facebook and you set up your paid ads that you're going to have, they will also circle through on Instagram. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1, but I'm sure Facebook added that into their pricing scheme. So I'm just checking for questions. We don't have anything yet. Again, I want this to be very interactive, so just stop me at any point, raise your hand, use the Q&A feature to ask me any questions as we move along. So you want to maximize your profile and your bio features, what I was just explaining, but then you really need to understand what's happening in your bio. So in your bio, this is a snapshot of mine from earlier this week. So you want to have your logo. So I have a business, I have a brand, which is Sam's Word. So I'm going to use my logo. I'm also going to have my business name, Sam's Word, as my business page, because that's what I'm promoting. That's what people want to follow. We'll go through some of these numbers here, but the 2827 is the number, 2,827. Those are the number of posts that I've published to my Instagram business page. 8,590 are the number of people or pages, business pages, following my business page. And 341 is the number of business pages or personal pages that my business page is following. So those are the posts that I'm going to see. And here is your title. So this is what I call myself, content and writing strategist. And then this is your bio section. I use hashtags so that people can find me, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. Instagram allows you to have one website link in your bio. We're going to talk about this a little bit more in depth also. I use Linktree, which is a service that allows you to list more than one website in your bio. And then down here we have our story highlights. These are called highlights. These are the highlight bubbles, and they come from your Insta stories. So before we move forward, are there any questions about the bio and what you're seeing in the bio? Okay. So these are the different profile sections. You have your profile picture. So of course it needs to be professional. So that's going to be your company logo. If you're the face of your brand, I have realtor clients, they're the face of their real estate business, then they would use a professional headshot. Your bio, and that would be the section here where I have the hashtags. Instagram allows you to have 150 characters maximum that you can use there. So I always say you want to maximize your real estate. You want to use searchable hashtags. So when people are on Instagram and they're searching hashtag copywriting or hashtag web content, I'm hoping that Instagram will send them to my page and I get some of that Insta business that we're looking for. Your username, you want to use your business name, and you want to make it something that's easy to remember. And it also should be consistent across platforms. So on Facebook, my business page is Sam's Word LLC. So on Instagram, it's Sam's Word. So you want to keep it consistent. And then Remember KISS, keep it simple, sweetie. You want something that people are going to remember, and when they are looking for you or searching for you on Instagram, they're not going crazy trying to figure out what your username may be. So the URL address, again, that's going to be your business website. If you only have one website that you're promoting, you're going to use your business website. So if you're in business, you should have a website. And I have a raised hand from Jean. Fred, can we unmute Jean? Allow to talk, okay.
Yes, you have to allow her to talk on your end.
Did I do it, Jean? Are you able to talk?
Me?
There you are. We unmuted you, Jean. Go ahead and ask.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay. So what if you have a LLC, like you set up your LLC name of your company, and it's not catchy? I guess like, or like, you know, my LLC's name is Mixed Education Services. I do corporate training. So it doesn't necessarily say exactly what I do. But when I set it, I can't like change that at this point. Would you suggest?
You can't change the business name, you're saying?
Yes, unless I go back and like, you know, create a whole new LLC.
So no, leave the business name as it is. I know people who use different words for their website and for their Instagram pages because they think that's what's going to attract people to them. So for instance, Mosaic Printing in Brantford, their website is Marketing and CT, but that's not the name of the business.
Okay.
So that's something you can try also,
Okay.
as long as people equate what your Instagram page name is to your business in some way.
Got it. Yes. Thank you.
I'll jump in also, Jean. You can have a trade name that isn't the name of the LLC. We'll talk offline about that.
Okay, great. Thank you, Fred.
And I did something, Fred. I made Jean in the 540 number of panelists. I'm sorry. And so, so Linktree. So you have your business website listed for your one website. But if you have multiple websites that you want to include, then you're going to use Linktree. So I use Linktree, and I think I inserted a slide here just for this. So when you click on the my Linktree link on my Instagram page in the bio, the website, this is what you're going to see. These are all active URL links to different pages and things I'm promoting. So first is, of course, our Instagram for Business webinar today. I want people to join my mailing list. I'm the managing editor for this magazine. So this is our latest issue. This is an affiliate link to join the US Black Chambers. So that's what you would use Linktree for. We have Barb on the line. Barb has a podcast. So she uses in her Linktree, with her additional links, she also includes links to her podcast also. So there's a lot of different ways that you can still use that one resource to promote a website or one website to also include different websites. And we have a question from Phyllis. I have a personal Instagram account. How do I set up a business one? So you can keep your separate personal Instagram account, but don't use that to promote your business. You want to go and in your settings, it has an option to add an account. So that's when you will create the new account, and then you set it up with your email address and with the new name that you want to call it. And it will have you put in a new password also specific to that account. And so when you're on Instagram, then you'll be able to toggle back and forth between your personal account and your business account. So for instance, I think I'm an administrator for like 5 pages on Instagram. And so when I click on either the top of the screen or the bottom of the screen where my home page is and I can get to my settings, it's going to pull up all the different pages that I'm the administrator for, the pages that I have access to, and then I select the one that I want. I hope that answered your question. And again, anyone new on the line, please use the Q&A function or the raise hand, And if you raise your hand, we will unmute you and you can ask your question, or you can type your question into the Q&A feature. Another good reason to use the business profile versus a personal profile to promote your business is because you have contact options. So when we talk about Insta business, you know, we want people to be able to contact us immediately. Instagram allows that. So right from the app, people can text, call, email, or schedule an appointment with you. And the access that you give them is up to you. So I have people, I give people the option to text me, not to call me. Please don't call me. Text me directly from the app, or they can email me. If you have a calendar set up, like Acuity or something else, you can link that into your Instagram also, and straight from Instagram, they can schedule an appointment with you. So that's how you make it easier. You want to eliminate the number of steps for people to contact you. If they're on your profile, they're seeing the work that you're doing, allow them to contact you immediately and then start that business connection. And again, this is the link tree. So the other business profile sections that we need to go over are your followers. And remember, that was this section here is what we're going over now. So the followers are either business profiles or personal profiles that have opted into following you. They want to see what you're posting. Your posts are now visible to them. They can see your content, they can see your bio, they can see how many posts you have out. Following are the people that you've decided to follow. So Instagram gives you a max of 7,500, which is quite a few that you can follow on your own. And that means you've opted in to see their posts on your feed. So when you go into your Instagram, these are people that you want to see. And so these are the pages that you follow, and they see your posts if they follow back, or if you're using hashtags and they come across it on a hashtag. Posts are the number of posts that you've published, and it's visible to the public. On your Instagram business page, your page, remember, should be public, so people are going to see it. If you're using Instagram privately, you have the option to make your page private. That way, if people aren't, if you haven't approved them to follow you, they're not going to see your content. You can also do promotions on Instagram. That's when you create ads or paid promotions. On Instagram, the way they have it set up, this is outside of paying for an ad on Facebook. So if you decide to promote or create an ad on Instagram, it needs to be a post that was previously published. So I'm unable to say, oh, I just took this nice picture. I want to take this picture and make it an ad and then create an ad. I need to take that picture, post it to my page, go back to that picture, and then create a promotion, a paid promotion using that picture. So when you decide to do that, if you want to pay for Instagram, that's one of the paid features. Just make sure you kind of edit and clean up your caption, because remember, that's going to be a paid promotion that's going to be going out to people on Instagram that you're not already connected with. So you want to just make sure when your ad is live that the content within the post is what you want it to be. And we had a raised hand from Jean. Okay, Jean, can we hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so how much does that cost? How much do those ads cost, like roughly?
It depends on your budget. So when you're setting it up, you tell Instagram, I want to pay $2 per day. I want to pay $5 per day for 7 days. So you set your budget, and then Instagram will tell you, with your budget of $2 a day for 7 days, you're going to reach about 8,000 people.
Got it.
Okay, and that'll be new people that aren't already following you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just jumping in, Sammy, Jean has an older version of Zoom, and that's why we're having to make her a panelist to ask the questions.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But all right, Jean, we'll fix you later.
It's okay, just doing some troubleshooting. And I just checked, we have some new participants on. So again, this is interactive, so raise your hand or use the Q&A feature to type your question in, and then I will get to it. But please, all questions and comments are welcome. And then finally, we have the highlights. So the highlights, if I go back, these are your highlight bubbles. And again, these come from your Instagram stories. So we're going to cover this a little later too, but you first you put a post into your Insta story, and then you save it as a highlight, and that's how you get your highlights. So they're created from your Insta stories, and you can save at most 100 Insta stories per highlight. So I have one of my highlights is word of the day, WOTD. And in that highlight, I add every morning, if I can remember, I add a word of the day from Merriam-Webster dictionary. So I get it on my email, I go into Instagram, I go to my Insta story page, and I post it up there. I can save 100 of those. The earliest one will get pushed out. And I know that because when I reached 100 about a year ago or more, it told me it's going to push out the earliest one. So the highlights are a great way for you to share more about your business. So you can show behind the scenes, what's happening. Your Instagram page is pretty much branded. It should be professional as possible. It should be about your products and services, about you, and how you can add value. So that will look very professional. So sometimes people use the Insta Stories feature to show a little bit more about Sammy. Here's what I'm doing today. I'm going to a workshop. I'm doing a webinar. Whatever it may be. And so it's another way for your followers to connect with you, because people connect with the person behind the brand. When they decide to do business, they will follow you on Instagram forever. And it's happened to me. They follow me forever. And then they finally say, hey, I've been following you for 2 years and I want to do business with you. So it helps them connect with you a little better. And again, you get that Insta business. And those highlights should be branded. So when you look at the highlights, I need to do these 2 workshops and features, but the others, you can see they pretty much match my brand colors, like the title of the slide, right? They all match the brand colors. So you want to keep everything consistent. So any questions before I move on to hashtags? So I added, this deck is a deck that I've been using for a couple of years now as I do my presentations. And I just added this section on hashtags this week because an influencer on Instagram, who I follow and respect, just said that we need to stop telling people to use hashtags. And I told them I completely disagree, and this is why I do it. So now, because of him, I added a whole new section on hashtags. So hashtags are important because if you're an influencer like him and you have 300,000 followers already, you don't necessarily need hashtags. You have the following, you've built your community. But if you're like me, I have 8,500 followers, or if you have less, 300, 500, 20 followers, whatever it may be, you're going to need hashtags, because the hashtags are used to get your content in front of people who would not normally see your content. And we have a question from Richard. What are the pros and cons of using Insta Story versus a post? So we're going to go more into the Insta Stories in a bit, but the Insta Story is only available for 24 hours. So when I post an Insta Story in that feature of Instagram, it's only going to be there for 24 hours unless I save it to one of my highlight bubbles. Then it'll live on forever until it gets to the 100th post and it'll get kicked out. So when you post to your Insta story, it's temporary unless you save it to a highlight. When you post to your regular Instagram page, you're making it part of your Instagram business page, and it'll always be there unless you decide to delete it, or you can archive it. I hope that answered the question. Okay, I think we got the questions. Okay, so hashtags, your content is now viewable to non-followers, and that's done in a way because hashtags are searchable, and people can go into Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, and they can actually search hashtags. So depending on the platform you're on, if you use hashtags and people are searching for your hashtags, they're going to see your content. On Instagram, they allow you to have at most 30 hashtags. which is a lot. Some people say, oh my God, 30 hashtags, I can't even think of 5. But when you start thinking about, for instance, I do resumes. So if I have resumes, CVs, resume writer, I need a resume, job search, like they can add up, right? So what you can do is start to research and see what are the most utilized hashtags for your industry, for the products and services that you're offering. And then you can use those hashtags too, because like if you go to Google, you can Google trending resume hashtags, and it'll tell you these are the hashtags people are searching for when they're looking for a resume writer. So that makes it a little easier for you. Google's your friend. So the hashtags also increases your exposure and your reach. If you don't use hashtags, say you have 30 people on your Instagram and you don't use any hashtags, your content is only going to be seen by those 30 people, unless somebody on your list decides to share it to their Insta story, because that's another thing you can do. If I post something, you can take my post and share it to your Insta story, which helps too, because it helps like cross promotioning. And so you're increasing your exposure, you're increasing your reach, you're getting your brand out there beyond those 30 people that you follow or that's following you. And it also utilizes keywords, which helps maximizes your SEO, your search engine optimization, which goes back to the keywords. So that's why it's really good to Google and see what are the trending hashtags for what your product or service is, so that you can make sure you're increasing your SEO. If you use hashtags, for instance, on Instagram or LinkedIn, and you go on Google and you search those hashtags, Google can also populate your content from those social media platforms, okay? So they are searchable and reshareable. So what's good about that is, say you like my really cool post I did on resumes. And you want to repost it. When you repost my content, you're resharing my hashtags, and then my hashtags live on, and more people get exposed to those hashtags. You can also follow hashtags, and that's across platforms. So on Instagram, I follow hashtag PhD student, because PhD students potentially need PhD editors and writers. So I follow hashtag PhD student, PhD students. And then when people post and they use those hashtags, I can see it in my feed. And what has happened is, I'm scrolling through my feed, and someone will say, does anyone know anyone who edits dissertations? And I'll say, hi, yes, I know someone. And so it's the business, right? So use the hashtags. Like I said, you can Google for popular hashtags. It's recommended that you also have 1 to 2 hashtags that you create for your brand. Some people are very creative and they have even more, but you want hashtags that people are going to remember. So my hashtag is hashtag Sammy Says. And if you search that on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Google, you'll see my content using hashtag Sammy Says. And what I like about it is, for instance, if you go to hashtag Sammy Says, if you search that on Instagram, it's actively like pulling up all my posts, all my content is there, because I'm the one using the hashtag Sammy Says. So if there's a hashtag that you want to use, but you're not sure if someone's using it already, well, first of all, one question I get all the time is, how do I get my own hashtag? How do I make that happen? So you just give it to yourself. So when I started writing and I was on Instagram, I started saying, I want to say Sammy Says. These are my words. I have Sam's words, so Sammy Says. So I searched it to see how many other posts were under this hashtag. If there were a lot, I would have just said, okay, I'll pick another hashtag. But there wasn't a lot. It was very few. So then I said, I'm going to take it. So because I start using that hashtag, and I'm posting 1 to 2 times a day, hopefully on a good week, I'm going to now monopolize that hashtag. So when people go and search that hashtag, they're going to see my content. And the same thing happened with my son. So he's hashtag Baby Deej. And I think some of y'all are following him. And so when he was born and I started posting under Baby Deej, there were like maybe 30 to 40 other posts under Baby Deej. But because Baby Deej's mom posts so much, now we kind of took over the hashtag. So his hashtag is hashtag Baby Deej. So when you're thinking about creating a brand hashtag for your company, first you want to think of what it could be, and then search and see what's currently happening, who's utilizing it, how often. And then if it's 3,000 posts under this hashtag already, abandon it and get a new hashtag, search that one and see how that one goes. And you want to include your hashtag that you create and other hashtags on all of your posts. So anything you post on social media should have hashtags associated with them, because we're on here to make money, and we can't make money if we're not using hashtags and trying to get in front of new customers and new clients. So your hashtags can have multiple words, just like mine is Sammy Says, but see, there's no spacing between. So you need to just, put it all together. And if you have symbols, so if there's a hyphen in there, that hyphen and anything after the hyphen would not be included in the hashtag. So if I had hashtag Sammy -says, the hashtag would just be hashtag Sammy, because anything after the symbol, anything after is not going to be included. And you also want your hashtags to be relevant to your content. So I believe I added a slide after this to show. Yes, so we're going to talk about Planoly in a little bit. But you want this slide came from Planoly. But you want your hashtags to match your content. So if I'm posting about resumes, my hashtag should be about resumes. If I'm posting about editing or being an editor, my hashtag should be about editing. And then I also have general hashtags that I can just add to any that are associated with writing, basically. But you want to make sure, so if I'm writing, posting about resumes, my hashtags are not going to be about webinars and public speaking, because when people are searching for resumes, they're not going to be using the same keywords that they're using when they're searching for webinars. So you just want to make sure that everything's consistent. Any questions? Nothing so far. Remember, ask any questions, use the Q&A function, or raise your hand. So we are on social media for a reason, right? It's social media. It's time to get social, okay? You don't want to be on social media and just promoting, like Barb, right? I'm gonna pick on Barb. You don't want to just promote your podcast. You want to add value. Why is your podcast special? If you're a plumber, what is your expertise as it relates to plumbing versus new homeowners get 50% off, right? Why would I even want your coupon? So you want to be social. You want people to connect with the person behind the brand. Just have to move my little thing up here. And so when you're thinking about being social on social media, like I said, you want to be posting about 1 to 2 times a day, and that gets difficult. So we're going to talk about a tool or different tools you can use to help with that. You want to include a call to action in your post. That's the CTA. The call to action is the one thing you want your viewer to do when they see your content. So I sent out an email yesterday and today promoting this webinar. My call to action is register, click here, sign up now. Those are all call to actions. So you have to make it so that the viewer isn't guessing what you want them to do. You tell them what you want them to do. Register, click here, donate, sign up, right? You also want to follow your followers. But you can be selective with that. Like, for instance, I have 8,500 followers. I'm following about 300 and change. When people go to your page, they can see who you decided to follow. So you also want to be selective about who you choose to follow, knowing that other people can see it, and understanding how those people that you're following may impact how people view you and your brand. So you have to begin with the end in mind, as Covey would say. So when you're thinking about following your followers, those could be other brands. They could be friends and family too. People that maybe you want to do partnerships with, people with you have things in common with your businesses, or you can collaborate. But just be mindful of who you decide to follow. You also want to like, comment, and share posts. So you have a social media page, but you need to do more on your social media page than just post. So you have your followers, you have people on your feed. Go to their pages, like their posts, comment, share that information. You can share either on the post or you can share their content in an Insta story. For analytics purposes, comments with 4 or more words add more weight for your analytics. So if you're commenting on a brand's post or your friend's business post, just keep that in mind because it helps the analytics. You know, just 4 words, 4 more words is going to boost the analytics. You also want to respond to your direct messages. I always tell people there could be money in those DMs. You have to be mindful of the direct messages and when they're coming in, and make sure you're timely in your responses to people, because people want, it's Instagram, and people want instant gratification when it comes to getting their answers, their questions answered. So if people are sending you a message, and for those who don't know, the direct messages is a private part of Instagram where you can send one-on-one messages to people. So people can send a direct message to your business page and ask questions all the time. So just be mindful of that. You don't want to leave money waiting in your DMs. Go make sure you're checking your DMs. Sometimes it does not tell you that you have messages in there. So check your DMs frequently and respond to people. Again, we're going to maximize our bio in the profile. Include your contact information. If you want people to text you, tell them that. If you want people to email you, make that available. You can list your phone number. You can list your website. Make sure your contact information is available. It does not make sense to have a business page and people can't contact you. Also, the Insta stories, the Instagram stories that we talked about is another way to be social. It's a way to add a little bit of personalities. I know a lot of people who sometimes their business Instagram page is a bit uptight. It's very professional. It's very polished. But you can go behind the scenes and use your Insta stories to break free a little bit. And then IGTV. So IGTV, like where we started is Instagram 101. IGTV and going live is like Instagram 301. So those of you who are more comfortable with Instagram and the platform, also if you're more comfortable using video, then you want to take advantage of IGTV and going live. Okay, also now in 2020, video is king. So if you're okay, if you're comfortable with it, take advantage of IGTV and the go live feature. And we'll talk about those two a little bit more. Any questions? So we talked about posting 1 to 2 times a day, which gets very difficult. So this is why I include this slide about the content development and scheduling tools, because realistically, I could not do it without these tools. So you have your content creation tools, your scheduling programs, and then your integration tools. Content creation, we have those listed here. I use Canva. And that's what I use to, any post that you see on my Sam's Word page, it has my brand colors, it has my watermark that says Sam's Word, my website, those are all created in Canva. And Canva is a very useful tool. I've used it to create business cards, to create flyers, all kinds of things. And you can print from Canva too. And then you have your scheduling programs. So of these, I've used Buffer before, and now I use Planoly. That's the slide I showed you before with the hashtags. And then you have your integration tools. So the way the system works is you create your content in Canva or whatever tool you use. You upload it into your scheduling system. I use Planoly. And then Planoly, or whatever you use, will schedule it out to your social media platforms. So through Planoly, whatever I upload and schedule on Planoly is going to go to Instagram and Facebook at the scheduled time that I put it there. But there's a third platform that I use, LinkedIn. LinkedIn doesn't really have a lot of integration tools. So I use Zapier, which is the first one listed here. And the way Zapier is set up is that whatever I post on Facebook will be zapped or sent over to LinkedIn. So once the Zap is set up, I don't have to do anything about it. Just make sure it's working right. Sometimes the Zaps don't work too well, but you guys just stay on top of it. But once the Zap is set up and my post is scheduled in Planoly, I'm done. Once I upload my post into Planoly, they're going to go to all 3 platforms, and I don't have to worry about anything. Any questions on the integration tools? No? Okay. So Planoly I use to schedule. We have one question. Phyllis asks, do they cost? Yes. So all of these have free and paid versions to them. So depending on what you're looking to get out of the platform, you may want to use the free or paid. I'm paying for Canva, and I'm paying for Planoly. And I'm paying for Canva because you just get access to a lot more things and features. For Planoly, I'm paying for that because with the unpaid version, I believe you cannot post to Facebook also. And with the paid version, I can schedule Insta stories to go out. So every Sunday, if you're following me on Instagram, you'll see every Sunday I have a Sammy's, I think it's a motivational tip of the week. And so I went ahead, I had some time one day, and I scheduled all of my Sunday motivational tips for my Insta stories for about a year, I think. The only thing with that is it does not automatically post to your Insta stories, whereas my regular posts that I have in Planoly will post automatically. I don't have to do anything. Once I schedule it, it's going to post that day and time to Facebook and Instagram. For the Insta stories, I can schedule it, and then on Sunday, I'll get a prompt on my phone saying the post is ready to be scheduled, open Planoly to schedule it. And then I go and do that part manually. But they are all currently scheduled. So those are some of the paid features for Planoly. And then also the number of posts that I can upload. So I create all these posts in Canva, and then I need to go upload them into Planoly. And I create my posts in batches. So Monday I do motivations, Tuesdays business communications, Wednesdays like public speaking. So I create all of those like Monday posts in batches. So I'll upload 30 Monday posts at one time. With the free version, I think you can only upload like 10 at a time. And I don't have patience like that. So I said, oh, I'll just pay for it. So now I I think it's cost effective. At most, they're like maybe $130 a year. So depending on how often you're using it and if it's worth your while in your budget, then I think it's worth it. For Zapier, I've never used any of these other integration tools. Zapier, I was paying for at one point, and my assistant at the time told me I didn't need to be paying for the Zapier. So to have my one Zap from Facebook to LinkedIn, there's no fee for that. But Zapier gets very convoluted. Zapier, if you look into it, has a whole bunch of things it can do. And so what I'm using it for is very minimal compared to what it can do. But when you start using it on a more comprehensive basis, then that's when the fees will come. Make sure we got all the questions. And so with Planoly, this is one of the reasons I like Planoly is because I can save my hashtag sets. So these are saved in Planoly. And when I'm posting, say I'm going to do something about public speaking. So I upload my post into Planoly. I do my content. I click the hashtag button, select public speaking, and it adds it to my post. So for instance, all of these hashtags I have on the resume, I don't have to retype those every time. I just hit add and it automatically adds it to the post. So when I'm organically posting in Instagram, say I go to Instagram and I want to post something right now in the moment, I can type my content, post up my content, post my picture, do my content, and then go over to Planoly, copy those hashtags, paste them into Instagram, and it's done. So that's one really cool feature that I like about Planoly. Oh, and then also I would say for doing this, before tools like this came out, people would use like the notepad feature on your phone. So through the notepad feature on your phone, you can do the same thing. Just save your hashtags and then copy and paste them. With Planoly, you're using that platform to post. So within the platform is integrated that your hashtags are saved. This is my one disclaimer with the content development tools and scheduling tools. The social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, they're not fans of the third-party platforms. They want organic and authentic posts. They want you to go to Instagram and upload your posts and your content and send it manually. Then go to Facebook, do it manually, and send it. They want to make sure that your comments and likes that you're getting are organic also. So they make sure that it's not a bot, because you can use paid services so that if someone posts a content that says resume, my bot will like it, right? So they don't like that either. They want you to like, post, and share through Instagram. So they want to keep everything within their designated platform with that focus on authenticity. So knowing this, why does Sammy still use these tools? This is the reason why. It's the reach rate. So if I'm on Facebook and I'm organically posting this manually myself, at most I have a 2% reach rate. So if I have 100 people on my Facebook business page, 2% of those people are going to see that post. On LinkedIn, it's also 2%. And I did my research this week. Instagram used to be about 1.6%, and now it's down to 0.8%. So not even 1% of people are going to see my organic post that I put out. So when I think about how valuable time is, that is why I continue to use those tools. And I tell people to use those tools also, because it does take a lot of time and effort to manually post to these platforms. And there are tools out there to help you do that. And with the reach rate being this low by doing it organically, I promote using the tools. Okay. So with social media engagement, you want to ask questions. You can think of any kind of questions, right? What are your followers interested in? How can you provide value? What are your industry pet peeves? So I'll say, like, for me, what are your industry pet peeves? For me, I hate it when people put two spaces after a period. I can't stand that. Don't do that anymore, right? So it starts to start a conversation. I posted one time and asked the question, where are you from and what do you do? And someone, I don't know if Takia is on, but somebody replied and she said, my name is Takia. I'm from Ansonia, Connecticut, and I'm a writer. And I said, really? Me and Takia are now really good friends. I've hired her as my writer, but none of that would have happened if I didn't even ask the question. So another question you can say is, I'm a writer. What kind of writing help do you need? How do you struggle with writing for your business? Do you need help with resumes? What tips can I give you? Ask me questions so I can give you the answers, right? So that's one way to engage with your followers. And you also want to respond to the comments on your posts. So sometimes people will comment and you're like, okay, thanks for being here, whatever. And you may not know what to say back. So just thank them. Thank you for following. Thanks for your comments. So glad you appreciate this post, right? Just a simple thank you. They say something that is welcoming, something that stimulates the conversation. Keep that conversation going. You start to build a sense of community. Then other followers on your page will start tagging other people to your page or other people who's commenting, and the whole conversation will take place. And that's what you want, because you want to create a sense of community within your Instagram page where people go to your post and they expect the same few people or more than few people to be commenting on your post. And they all start to get to know each other. So when you're doing that, though, don't forget to use the @ to @ them. So if I comment on one of your posts, say someone else commented on your post, and I want to reply to them. If I don't use the @ with their name that they're using, they're not going to get a notification that I responded to them. That conversation is not going to go on unless they, for some reason, decide to go back to the post and they see it. If you use the @ they will get a notification. It will say Sam's Word replied to you. Sam's Word left a comment. So that way you get that notification and you keep the conversation going. And sometimes, social media, so you're going to get people who say negative things or leave bad reviews on your comments on your posts. And you can take the professional way and, seek to remediate the situation and make it all better. Or you can just delete them too. It's Instagram, you just swipe left, right, whatever it is, and the comment is gone like it never existed. So you can choose how you want to engage that type of behavior, but just make sure that you are being social on social media and your followers know what to expect from you. They get to understand your personality, your humor, your authentic voice, and that's what they're going to connect with. So we talk about the followers, but we also know there's lurkers. We talk about the people who follow you for years and months, and then they finally say, okay, I want to do business with you. So when you talk about Insta business, you want to turn your lurkers into leads. Those people who are watching, they watch all the time. I just posted on my Insta stories. Did you see it? And I said, y'all are watching, keep watching. They're always watching, right? So for these lurkers, for the people who are following you and they don't comment, they don't like, if it wasn't for Insta stories feature where it actually gives you a list of people who saw your post, you would never know that they saw your post, right? So for those people who are following you, make sure you contribute tips and advice. It's not just selling. People are not going to buy from you if they go to your page. If you sell cosmetics and every single picture is lipstick or foundation or something, you have to add value. What about it? Do they not test on animals? Why is this one better for your skin? You have to show value and credibility that people will want to support you because you know what you're talking about. So you share your industry knowledge, right? You know more than just selling lipstick. You know what it costs to produce the lipstick. You know where it originated from. You know the ingredients that are used in it. You know the ingredients that are not used in it, right? So you want to provide insight and inspiration. When people see you in your post, they think, maybe I'm going to learn something new today about this, right? Give them that hope because they show that they expect something from you. They know that you're going to provide value and teach them something. And again, you can go live, you can post to IGTV. And when you start doing things like that, you start to build your followers' trust and respect, and you land those leads and you turn your lurkers to leads. You get the Insta business. Any questions? All right, Insta stories, what you all been waiting for. Okay. So you want to maximize your Insta stories because there's a lot of things you could do with it. And I think the features have changed and improved since I first started putting this slide together. So these are some of the different styles that you can use. And they're hard to explain in a webinar. They're hard to explain in a workshop, even on the one-on-one sessions. You have to get familiar with the different features. So just play with them, right? Same way you're going to go into your bio, your profile, and make sure you have all of the, you're utilizing all of the features. Just go into Insta stories, just play with it. Sometimes what I do is play with new features like Insta stories and IGTV on my son's account because my son is 6, but he has his own Instagram page. That's a whole other thing. But he has fewer followers on that page, so there's fewer people who's going to see me mess up if I do something wrong. So I test out different features and things on his account, learn how to use it, maybe take it over to my personal account, and then once I get pretty comfortable with it, put it onto my business page. Okay, so there's different ways you can, start to just play around with things. With the Insta stories, it can be pictures or videos, and these are just some recommendations of what you can use these features for. You can do behind the scenes of your business, if you have upcoming sales or events or podcasts, Barb, new products or services that you're offering, if you have a blog or a newsletter that you want to publish. You can add teaser videos and photos, so people will do like a 3-second video of something, but it's like really quick or you can't really tell what it is, but it's kind of like a stay tuned. I'm just teasing you a little bit. For your Insta stories, your videos can be 15 seconds at max. And then when you get more followers, at 10,000, you can include a call to action where they can swipe up and click on a web page or sign up here or do that. But you got to build up your followers. You can use Insta Stories to collaborate. Use it as a collaboration tool. So you can tag viewers to your Insta Stories. You can promote your other businesses' products. You do like a cross promotion kind of thing. You can do an Instagram takeover. So we have Fred who's hosting this from CEDF, right? So if Sam's Word wanted to do an Instagram takeover, we would log into CEDF's Instagram account, and then we would show people what's happening or what CDF wants to promote from our lens. So you're seeing a little different approach of the business. Now, these are some features that they have here: polls, quizzes, countdown questions, donations, which are really cool now. There's more features that have been added. I think Instagram adds features on a monthly basis. Again, once you reach 10,000 followers, you're able to create ads. And as you're going through your Instagram stories, you can see which ones are paid promotions that people have paid for the stories. And again, you can take your Insta story, save it as a highlight. Again, the Insta story is only going to be live for 24 hours. After 24 hours, it's like it never happened, unless you save it to a highlight. So you create your own highlights. You determine the title of your highlight and which post you want to put into each highlight. And I'll scroll back to the beginning again. And so these are the highlights. So business tips, word of the day, Sammy's day, resumes, workshops, features, testimonials. Those are your highlights. So you create your Insta story first, and then from your Insta story, you then save it to your highlight bubble. Again, you can have at most 100 Insta stories per highlight. And if you're using hashtags on your highlight bubble, on your Insta story, and you save it to the highlights, it'll stay there until it reaches 100. So for the word of the day, I post the word of the day every day. And in the white space, I use white font so you guys don't see it, another secret. So I use white font to put in, you can put 10 hashtags in your Insta story. So I put my 10 hashtags, words, writers on Instagram, whatever it may be. I have my 10 hashtags, and then I save it to my word of the day bubble. Those hashtags are still searchable and findable in that highlight bubble until it reaches the 100th post and it kicks it out. So use the hashtags in your Insta stories also. And again, your highlights should match your brand. You want to create a cover photo, which once you start figuring it out and getting into it, you'll figure out how to do that. Your cover photo should match your brand colors. And it's recommended that you have about 5 to 7 max highlight bubbles, because people are just not gonna just keep scrolling, right? And you can use it to emphasize the content that you really want to share, that you want to be searchable, that you want people to come back to your page for. And then go live. So at the top of your screen is where you're gonna find your Insta stories. When people are live, they're gonna be positioned first. So that's when you know, and it has like a play button. So those are the people that went live. And it's broadcasted to anyone using Instagram. You can control who sees your live video. You can delete it or you can save it. You can repurpose the content, and you can also see the number of live viewers. For live, you can do 1 hour live, and Instagram will let you know when you're approaching your 1 hour limit. For IGTV, you can do 10 minutes unless you're a larger verified account, and then you could do up to an hour on IGTV. It lets you know when it's running out, and you control the length of it. So the videos need to be, for IGTV, the videos need to be 1 minute or more, and then it will show in your Instagram feed and play in IGTV. And you want to try to use captions on your videos, because 2 out of 3 people are going to listen to or watch videos on silent. So using captions in your videos is the next big thing. So these are some of the reasons why you want to consider going live. It's like a mini webinar. I can do this going live. I can do the same presentation on Instagram and IGTV or going live. So it's real-time interaction with your followers. People can comment, join, ask questions. You can go live with others, your customers, other businesses, celebrities, you never know, or employees. You can save your live video. So it, again, will save for 24 hours in your Insta story. Or you can save it to your camera roll, and you can repurpose that content and make blogs, share it across social media, include the content in your newsletter, share it on your website, or you can even take it, save it, and sell it on your website as a replay. And then IGTV, again, this is for the people who are more comfortable with Instagram. This is a long form video. That means you take your video like this. You're not gonna record like that. So you record it to your phone first through your phone's feature, and then you upload it to IGTV. Again, regular people like us, we have 10 minutes we can do. Larger accounts have 1 hour, and the videos don't expire. It's like having a YouTube page on Instagram. There's an app for it, but you don't need the app. It's included on Instagram. And then you can add some call to actions. So you can use a website, you can send to an online store, to your blog, schedule an appointment. And again, it's like your own personal YouTube channel. So people get used to say, Sammy does a tip on Tuesdays at 2 o'clock. So I'm going to watch our IGTV Tuesdays at 2 for her tip. So that's how you would use IGTV. And then we'll end on analytics. So Instagram allows you to see when you have a business account, allows you to see your analytics, that you can see the number of insights, the likes, save posts, comments. Remember, 4 or more words adds values. Also, when people share your content, when people save your content, if you're on Instagram, you save it, that also adds to analytics. So your impressions are the number of people who saw your post. That even includes your lurkers. And then your reach percentage is the impressions divided by the number of followers. So your numbers don't lie. If you have 12,000 followers with 28 likes, you're probably buying followers. And then engagement. So that's the likes, comments, shares, and saves. And again, comments with 4 or more words add more weight for analytics. So if you're commenting on somebody's page or their post, try to use 4 or more words. I think we are at time. This is just an example of what some of the analytics will look like once you start to post on a more consistent basis. And that's all we have. So we again will open it up. Does anyone have any questions before we leave? No, so I will hand it over to Fred.
Sammy, that was a terrific presentation. We really appreciate your time today to school our small business owners on the fine points of using social media. If more questions develop now in the future, how can they contact you?
You can contact me on my, using this screen here. I have contact information here, samsword.com. Phone number is 203-800-7119. Email writers@samsword.com. Instagram, sams_word. Facebook, Sam's Word LLC.
Very good.